This week I wanted to take a couple of moments and talk to you about our discussion post in the Law of Diminishing Marginal Utility. Now, before you can write to your original discussion post on Wednesday, there's an activity you need to do. And you're going to need a pen and a pencil, some sort of consumable commodity that you enjoy, and maybe a little bit of an appetite. First, take your piece of paper and with a pen or pencil, go ahead and record 3 columns. Column number 1 is going to be number, just the word number. Column number 2 is marginal utility, or MU. And column number 3 is total utility, or TU. Once you have that accomplished, go ahead and grab whatever commodity you think you may want to consume. For me, it's going to be frozen grapes. I enjoy them a lot. Well, our activity today is trying to demonstrate the law of diminishing marginal utility. And as you probably remember in your reading, utility is just an analysis of how much satisfaction we get in consumption. And economists use a term called a util, U-T-I-L, and a util is just a measurement of utility. And unlike other measurements, it's different for every single person that uses it. So you and I might think of a pound, and what's a pound for me is going to be the same as a pound for you. But a util is different for every single person. And so as you think about your utils, don't worry as much about the number, just make sure it's comparative. And let me give you an example. So for number 1, I'm going to go ahead and consume a grape. As I enjoy that grape, I'm trying to determine how much satisfaction did I get from eating that grape. On a scale of 1 to whatever, I need to go ahead and create a number. I'm going to say that grape was worth 25 utils. So on my first line, number 1 was for the first grape, and then under marginal utility, I'm going to put down 25. Under total utility, so far, I have had 25 utils. So on line 1, I'm going to have 25 under marginal utility and total utility. And after that's done, I'm going to enjoy another grape. That grape was delicious as well. I think it might have been a little bit better than the first grape. So I'm going to say it is 35. So on line 2, under marginal utility, I'll record 35. But my total utility is going to be the 25 from the first grape, the 35 from the second grape, for a total of 60. So line 2, marginal utility 35, total utility 60, next grape. Whatever product you have chosen to consume will work. Just make sure that you are consuming the like amount of that product every single time. For me, I think that is every bit as good as the second one, so I'm going to score it at a 35 utility. So on line 3, my MU is 35, and my TU is 60 plus 35, or 95. Well, didn't seem to be quite as good. So I'm going to say my marginal utility went from 35 to 30. So my marginal utility went down from 35 to 30. My total utility is going to be 95 plus 30, or 125. And I have another grape. Probably another 30 again. So I have 30 as my marginal utility. Add that to my total utility for a grape, I think it's number 6. and I have a grand total of 155. And let's have one more grape. This grape wasn't quite as good. I'm kind of getting filled up now. I'm not getting the same amount of satisfaction per grape, and so it went to about a 20. So my marginal utility is 20. My total utility is going to be 55 plus 20, or 175. And you continue this process by eating your commodity until you get down to a marginal utility of 0, where you consume that product and it doesn't give you any satisfaction. It doesn't give you any additional utility. And if you want, you can keep on with the process until your marginal utility or your satisfaction gets negative, where you're going, oh, I'm tired of eating grapes. I don't like them anymore. And that happens too. So work yourself through that process. And if your product works like most, you should be able to demonstrate the diminishing law of marginal utility. And once that you've completed that process, then you can go ahead and take a look at writing your paragraphs down for the discussion post. And there's just two I'm looking for. The first one is discussing how did the process work for you? Were you able to demonstrate the law of diminishing marginal utility? And there's several prompts to write to on your discussion post. And then the second paragraph is going to revert back into your California commodity. If this idea of the law of diminishing marginal utility happens with products, what can you do as a producer of a commodity to minimize the effect of the law of diminishing marginal utility on your commodity of choice? So whichever one you selected in week number 2, you're going to go ahead and see if you can develop a very short one-paragraph strategy on how to minimize the impact that the law of diminishing marginal utility may have. Once that's done and you finish off those 2 paragraphs, please upload a copy of the table that you wrote that had every single number, for me, all the grapes, with the marginal utility and the total utility, and get that submitted with your discussion post as well. That needs to be done by Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. And please make sure you have commented and responded by adding additional value to your peers by Sunday night. If you have any questions, please reach out to me in the Ask the Professor forum.